Welcome to another episode of Deep Thoughts. Today's episode is our conversation with Eric that we had not too long ago about his ayahuasca experience. Eric is a musician, artist, podcast host, and private investigator. Hope you enjoy.
I consider myself a spiritual person who, and I like to delve deep into the territory of spiritual talk and existential awareness.
Yes, man. Yes. And this is just me speaking here, but I believe we all are, man. It's when you go or come to back to the word that one of our good friends Ollie uses a lot. And it's I like that he does. But it's when you once you're aware, man, once you're aware of it, once you go back down to that awareness, everything just starts to fall in place, man. Spirituality is amongst all of us, bro. It always is, always was, always will be.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how technical or advanced we get as a civilization, it will remain the truth, man. As long as you have a body that is a biological body that is with cells and organisms that run through you, yeah, you are a part of this world. You are spiritual.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Well put.
I'd like to ask, what started the journey for you, for both of you guys? We'll start with Eric. What started that spiritual journey? You think?
The beginning for me was like when I first came down to Florida. It was now at this point probably like 10 years ago. Came with my ex-wife, and I was starting to. I wasn't even finished with the first degree I was working on at that point. So I was. It was like a new experience for me, and I had to figure out how I was going to live my life here. And so, I mean, I was working. The first job I actually took was at like a warehouse,
Yeah.
and I went from there to like a temp agency, and it was kind of, I mean, it was just like feeling my way out and trying to make sure I could, support myself and do what I needed to do, and all of that. So I had some friends. I made a friend with a guy who I used to go biking with actually, like every Saturday morning, like early in the morning, we would wake up, and it would be cold, and we would go running out onto the bike trails. And I mean, I managed to like start getting into spirituality through him and another friend that we work with who was into Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
And so he had like all the CDs of The Power of Now. Like it was
Yes, sir.
like an expensive CD set or something
Yeah.
at the time. Like if somebody had it, they would just loan it to somebody else. Like, and I listened to that, man. And I remember the first time he was talking about how he was sitting there, like how he had that epiphany where he realized like, okay, if there's me, and he was thinking like he was in a depressed state, like I don't feel like I could live with myself anymore, is what he thought to himself, right? And then he's like, well, wait, but if it's me and I feel like who's me and who's the self that I feel like I can't live with, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And he just had this, it was like he just realized that there's, wait a minute now, how's that happen, like why is it me separate from the I that I take myself to be, and the crazy thing is there was like another part where he starts to go into like this thing about feeling into the moment and just like sensing what's around you and all this stuff, and it's like it's almost like a guided meditation. And I did that. I was driving at the time, and I just remember just this moment where it just clicked, and I was like, it was crazy because I actually went into a Walmart after that, and I was like walking around, like to meet person who I was with at the time, and I remember just like walking around looking at stuff, and just thinking, like feeling like I'm just watching myself going around living my life, like I'm not. I really felt like I was, the witness in that for a while. I don't know how long that lasted, maybe just through the rest of that day or whatever. But after that, I became very intrigued by spirituality and just took it further. There was a book called I Am that I read. And I found that to be like almost like a drug. Like you read it and it's a really interesting, it's like a text where they're talking to a guru, and the guru, like, they'll ask questions and he'll answer the questions.
Yeah.
And like you just read it and start to, it's almost like you get into a certain state, you know. So to answer the question how it started, that's how it started. You know?
Yo, the
Yeah.
layers are pulled back,
Yeah.
man.
Mhm.
I had a similar moment like that, bro. I think I microdosed. I had a
Ah.
very small amount of mushroom, chocolate probably, most likely chocolate. And I started driving. It's very safe to microdose and drive, by the way, guys. So yeah, I get behind the wheel and I'm listening to Eckhart Tolle as well,
Oh,
right?
nice.
Some long 1 hour, I think it was not a podcast, but just a speaking event that he was at.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he actually had one with what is it, Wayne Dyer
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yep.
So I'm driving, and then I think I'm driving to Target. I was driving to Target at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I'm listening to this speech, and he says it was something about like you mentioned, the awareness watching,
Yeah.
everything through the lens, through the eyes of whatever, through you, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. And it clicked with me too. Like I just felt a balance, an alignment, man. Just yo, there is no separation. You're right here,
Yeah.
viewing life through this, through the spectacle. So me,
Yeah.
I whatever disappeared in that moment,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
became awareness.
Yeah.
As I was behind the wheel driving,
Yeah.
aware. Afterwards,
yeah.
I got out of that moment, that now,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and I said, "Yo, what was that?" And I want to get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah.
That's when it really opened for me. I'll say like that was
Yeah.
my starting point. But there's been multiple, like a handful of other moments in time in my life where I've actually delved a little deeper into spirituality. And I found my basis. And around that time of my life, those were actually the moments where I felt the most lost.
I bet.
Yeah.
Because like what you took yourself to be and your current understanding of
Yes.
things is kind of out the window.
Yes. Those were the moments
Yeah.
that hit me. Like, dude, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Like, why did I do that today? Or all of those questions started to arise. But it's how you answer or treat those questions. Like, what do you receive those questions to be? Are they conflicting to the point where, you may feel like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to live this life. I don't want to be me. Do you view those questions like that? Or is it more of a sense of actually getting to know who you are?
Yeah.
Creating that, because I believe how I see it, there's a disconnect between you and spirit, especially when you're programmed. And it's not,
Yeah.
when I say the word program, I don't mean, oh, you're
Like,
what I'm like,
someone's controlling
controlling you or anything. No, it happens throughout life,
Yeah, I mean,
You're like
Yeah.
it's like you receive, you're
Everyone
recording
does, yeah.
everything. You're recording everything that's around you. Your
Yeah.
brain is like a sponge almost. And
Right.
if you don't take how do I say, not control, but if you're not aware of those recorded programs, they just get stuck to you and they become a part of you.
You identify with
You
them.
yes,
automatically
perfect.
assume them to be true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you don't question them,
Mhm. And it's when so in the moment of just going back to, or not identifying with those, not identifying with those those recorded programs, or and taking a step back and realizing, okay, yo, what is it that I truly like? Who is it that I am truly? And it wasn't until my full dosage, when I actually took that, I don't know how many grams it was, but I do know it was from.
It's enough to get you there.
Oh, it was enough to get me there, man. I took
Right.
I want to say about 80% or 75% of the
Nice.
chocolate. I didn't take the whole thing. And that was mostly because I wanted to save it, bro. That thing was delicious. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want this piece for later, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
But I took like 75% of it. I said, you know what? Here's how my day's gonna go, bro. I'm
Right.
gonna head over to the park. I'm gonna chill for a little bit, vibe out,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
take my headphones with me, listen to some music, and just
Yeah.
chill. Like it's
Nature.
mushrooms. It's
Yeah.
nature and mushrooms.
Nature.
Like what can possibly happen, bro?
Nature.
Dude, right?
It
Like
happens.
just a regular.
A lot of things
day,
happen in
bro.
nature.
Nothing, yo. It'll
But
just be a smooth
sometimes
day.
it's just nothing, you know, like
I
trees and the breeze.
Bro, I take the chocolate, man. I eat it.
Yeah.
I'm still at the crib when I do. I'm
Right.
still at home. I eat the chocolate. I get behind the vehicle. I drive over to the park,
Mhm.
park my car, walk over. This is Grinnell's Park, so you know,
Okay.
for a visual representation of this, where I was, there's a little log or a cabin of
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah.
Not one that you stay in, just one that you rest at. You know, like a resting point.
Okay, yeah.
And in the back of it is a huge lake area with
Uh-huh.
trees surrounding it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in a far distance, I think it's like maybe 2 or 3 buildings way in the back that you can see. But it's a beautiful lake out, and the sun just it makes the whole vibe
Makes
just
it
beautiful,
even
bro. It's
more golden
beautiful,
and shining.
man. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna go over there, chill,
Uh-huh.
put on some music, and just vibe out.
Yeah.
After about like 35 minutes, I feel my body's getting warm, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this? What is this? Nothing, like it wasn't disgusting. I didn't feel like anxious or nauseous or any. I didn't feel any of it. I just felt real
Just
calm
warm.
and warm.
Yeah.
Closed my eyes, bro. Started to see these little patterns form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nah, I don't want that. Oh my!
You're like, I'm in public.
Nah.
I'm in public, bro. Like, I don't know if it's good right now.
I'm gonna just
Yeah.
vibe right now.
Yeah.
Start listening to some music, bro. The music hit different. Bro.
Wow.
I'm dancing. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I had
Yeah.
on this long sleeve shirt.
Uh-huh.
And I felt this, I don't know, this little tingling sensation on my right arm, right
Yeah.
underneath my armpit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, what is that?
What is that?
Is that a spider, bro? Is that a spider, man? I'm like, and then I calm myself down, like, no, bro, you're good.
You're good.
You know, you're
Yeah.
good. You're just in your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Once I got that,
Mhm.
because you remember, I think
Yeah.
we spoke about the,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, it's like perceptions too. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like you feel a lot of things. I mean, you visuals and stuff like that. It's not really. I mean, you see it. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like you're seeing a whole new thing that's like being projected into your awareness. But then when you have like sometimes you could feel like, at least I know this on different things, like mushrooms maybe not so much as other things, but like you feel like your clothes on your body could feel like somebody touched you. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Or a shadow could look like something was there. You
I
know?
feel like your senses are
yeah.
heightened, like all your senses.
Very, yeah.
All your senses.
So like at the point you realize, oh, okay, well that's actually just an extremely exaggerated form of one of my of the feeling of touch. So like the slightest thing that I feel feels like, oh shoot.
Yeah, you have all
know?
of these nerves
Yeah.
on your, nerve endings on your body,
Yeah. You
which
do.
are, because I forgot what the number was, and I don't want to start throwing random facts all over, especially if it's, false.
Yeah.
But you can only pay attention to, I believe it's 7 perceptions at once, 7 or 6. But if you were actually allowed to experience everything, right?
Yeah.
All at once, bro, you would go into shock.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Your
you get
brain
shut
wouldn't be able
down,
to take it. You would just
basically,
shut down
Mhm.
because there's so much stuff going on. You have
Yeah,
clothes
you
on right now.
selectively jump into one of the perceptions and kind of pay attention to it.
Yes,
You know?
dude, that little
Mhm.
minor, touch. I had clothes on all over, bro.
Yeah.
But
You just felt that one.
this little, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
there's a spider here.
You
know what I'm saying? And I'm freaking out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Calm myself down. No, it's good. It's good. We're good.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me. That calming, that no, it's there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I opened my eyes, looked over at the water. Bah, beauty.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Yes.
The trees are breathing alive.
Yeah.
water moving, like
Mhm.
creating this song, this mute sound, you know what I'm
Wow,
saying?
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
I'm like, yo, bro, this is so beautiful. I think I want to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Right. Like I'm
So
done. I'm good now.
I'm good,
I'm
man. I
good
just
now,
want to
yeah,
go home
yeah,
now. So I started making my way back over to the car,
Mm-hmm.
and I see this guy working on his he's working in his car actually.
Mhm.
You know, he's underneath the hood doing some crinks and clinks or whatever.
Yeah.
I pass him. I'm seeing the raccoons come out. You know, they're looking at me. They're like, "Oh, this man's high." You know what I'm saying? Like I'm walking
They
past,
talk
Like
about
they
you.
know. They know. You're not fooling them.
I get back, I get back into the car, bro, and I used to always carry this notebook.
Yeah.
You know, cool people would always say, "Yo, what you got, a Bible or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, this is where I write all of my stuff." So I would always carry around this notebook with me.
Mhm.
I get in the car, take my notebook, and I write. I swear it wasn't me, bro. It
Yeah.
just pure conscious, whatever.
Yeah.
It just came down, and I said,
Yep.
I wrote down, "I am just a spirit
Mhm.
having a human experience."
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't
Yeah.
care. The spirit in me says,
Yeah.
dude, I don't care what you eat. I don't care what you do. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's your body, bro.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just here to have this experience,
Yeah.
whatever that experience is.
Yeah.
Then I closed it. Woo!
Wow.
And I sat down
Yeah.
in the car.
Uh-huh.
I said, yo, I don't like this car. Claustrophobic, bro.
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah.
Everything felt nasty,
Yeah, 'cause
mushy,
it's
like
it's moving in
closing on
you
me.
and
I'm
stuff,
like,
yeah.
oh,
No.
had to get out the car,
Right.
go back into the
Mhm.
park where I was. Guy was still working on his car underneath the hood.
Just chilling.
Raccoon's still out.
Yep. Everything's the same.
Everything's the same, bro.
Yeah.
Guess what? I did that about 6 times.
Same thing.
Same motion.
Repeat, yeah.
Same motion. Remix.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, bro.
Yo, this movie didn't have an extra scene for me if I was gonna repeat the sequence, bro. Like it just kept on going the same way.
It
know?
wasn't until I
Yeah.
broke that.
Yeah.
And I got on, because there's this
Yeah.
little mountain type of hill
Ah, the hill,
I
yeah.
got on top of.
Yeah.
And I realized, yo,
Mm-hmm.
I was stuck in the matrix. Bro, I came to all, like,
Yeah.
I came to this conclusion
Yeah,
all by
you were
myself,
like, yo,
bro.
I'm stuck in the matrix.
I said, bro, I'm stuck
Yeah.
in the matrix.
Yeah.
But it hit me on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
not, okay, yo, you're just
Like
repeating
this
all of
is
this.
like the movie
whatever.
The Matrix.
No, but this is
no.
like life.
Yeah, life.
I'm stuck in I'm doing the same thing. I'm on repeat.
Yeah.
I'm waking up, I'm doing this or
Mhm.
whatever throughout the day, and then
Right.
it repeats. I'm
Yes.
not getting anywhere. I'm not going anywhere doing that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So what you were doing was keeping you stuck in the matrix.
Yes.
Right.
When I got up to that hill, bro, and I realized that,
Mm-hmm.
something hit me. Like this new me came out. It
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah.
I yelled. I was like, yo,
Uh-huh.
I'm Flamo.
I'm Flamo, yeah.
Flamo. I yelled, bro.
Yeah.
I yelled.
Yeah.
This lady came up with her daughter to the
Yeah.
top of the hill where I was,
Yeah.
and I don't know, this like paranoia started to come.
Yeah,
into
because
me.
you're like, oh shoot, I gotta
Yeah,
hide or
I said,
something.
yo,
Bad
I'm
shit, yeah.
yo, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. Why you leaving, bro?
Yeah.
You're Flamo.
Yeah.
Huh. So she comes up. I see her. She says hi. I'm like, hi.
Yeah.
Breathed out. Took a deep breath. Exhale. Yo, what am I afraid of?
Yeah. It's life.
What am I afraid of?
It's here. I mean, it's you're here to experience it. You know?
That moment
Mhm.
is ingrained in me.
Yeah.
Afraid of what?
Afraid of what?
Live, bro.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Speak your truth. And that was my first
Yeah.
like
Spiritual awakening. You know,
Yeah,
that's
man.
a big that'll be in my mind, man. When I think about things, man, like I'll be like, yo, what are you afraid of? You're here and you're living. That's what's up, man. That's so
I'd say for my my journey, I feel like mine has been more longer than like a quick snap because
Mhm.
I haven't done that many psychedelics because I feel like psychedelics really boosts it boosts your awareness a lot.
It can, yeah, and obviously responsible use is a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
deal too. So it's like hard to fit it in your
And
life sometimes,
and you have to go in with
Yeah.
like the mindset
Yeah.
of like this is where you go because some people just take it for fun, have a
Right.
good time, but if you go in with like a purpose
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
try to
Intent,
yeah,
Intention.
I feel like it'd be
and-
really beneficial. But I haven't
Mhm.
been able to do it recently or often.
Mhm.
Like I had the one experience in Atlanta that we spoke with Tyler about,
Cool. Yeah.
and that was
That's cool, man.
when I was like, what? Like I got caught in the loop as well. I was like, what? Like I was
Yeah.
like, I just
Yeah.
couldn't stop. I couldn't stop doing it, and then I finally broke it, and I was like, and I went outside too. We went for a walk, and that walk was like amazing.
In the Atlanta streets, bro.
Like,
Atlanta already looks like
3 a.m.
Atlanta's already 3 in the morning on Atlanta streets.
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
already looks like, especially where we were. I forgot
Yeah.
the Glen Park or
Oh,
something like that.
You were with him? Or?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
We went as a group, yeah.
So you did what you tell yourself, yo, what am I afraid of?
I
I would have been like,
So
I would've
okay,
like, you
here's what
got
I'll say. Here's what I'll
But
say
it's-
because
that
I
was
had
a
another.
good
I was on my trip as well. Like I was still
Right,
tripping that night.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I said, yo, everybody's tripping. What I wanted to do that night,
Yeah.
I said, yo, we're
Uh-huh.
all gonna take these mushrooms, have a dope time, have a
Yep.
great time,
Chill.
go to like some hookah bar or whatever,
Yeah.
and just sit down and enjoy it. Because this is
Yeah.
our night, man.
I've
Like,
been to
we're in
Atlanta, man. Like I'd like to actually. It would be fun to do mushrooms in Atlanta. I
Bro,
think.
dude.
Honestly, it would be fun. Yeah.
Was it? It was
Was it
amazing,
blast?
bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, yo, man, we can all just do these mushrooms, go to a little hookah bar, sit
Mhm.
down. I don't even smoke hookah, bro.
Yeah. Hookah.
Go
Just
to a
to chill,
hookah bar,
though.
sit back and vibe.
Right.
But then, cause me, I'm on my mushrooms, and I'm like leadership, bro. I'm on leadership rojo, bro. Leadership red, dude.
You're like, let's go.
I'm
Let's
like-
go for a walk.
Dude, I felt
Yeah.
who can stop me? I'm like, yo, come on, yo, hey, let's do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Let's take these
yeah.
mushrooms, let's leave.
Yeah.
I look
Okay.
around, all
Uh-huh.
of my friends, they are dying, bro. They're like going through it, dude. But
Oh,
but I
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
it was their
Mhm.
first time.
Oh, because they hadn't. It was intense, and they were just trying to write it out or whatever.
They've never done
Yeah,
it before.
yeah,
I have.
yeah.
I have my experience.
Right. Right. Yeah.
They didn't deal with
They
the
didn't
like they
know.
didn't know they
Yeah.
don't know about the
The feelings and the sensations and the
Yeah.
things that feel a little off, and you got to like
no, man.
reconcile in your brain where you're like, oh, okay, that's just my mind is using what's in my environment, and it's just amplifying it. And
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I get it now. Okay, this is a different way of feeling, but I'm still here. I can still walk around. I can still do
This is
things.
why you're the shaman, bro. That's why you're the shaman.
I mean, I wish,
No,
man. I
even-
wish.
I feel like even when that's like because you kind of have to go through it. It's the experience, and it's
Right.
for an
Yeah.
example, like you can't just get a baby and then tell the baby, hey, yo, you can walk, by the way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The baby
Yeah.
has to
You can't just tell them
learn.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the baby
You
has to
gotta figure
learn
it
for
out.
itself. Okay, yo,
Uh-huh.
I want to be able to do, especially
Right.
if the baby is watching you do this, this walking
Well,
ability.
they see it and they like
They
it,
see it,
man.
they're like,
They're
yo, I want
"Whoa,
to do that.
Yeah.
It's like a sponge in
Yeah,
in their head.
yeah,
They want to
yeah.
do that too.
They do. Yeah. And they try too
So they
before they
try.
can walk too. Like,
Whatever
yeah.
you know what I'm
They
saying?
try
Try
to stand
first.
up.
They
there,
try to
yeah.
stand up, fall back down.
Yeah,
You can help
Never
them too.
giving
You can
up.
walk with it. You can walk around. with it.
exact.
Help
Same
them get
thing.
the feel for things, and they start to get a little better and a little
And they
better.
have those little things,
Yeah.
right? Where
little walker
To
thing
assist
you
them,
hold
yeah,
on
the walking
to.
things,
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with a mushroom trip.
Right. Right.
With any experience like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't take you through it in a sense that I'm not gonna be there 100% in your world.
like in
You
your
know what I'm saying?
space.
In your space, in
Yeah.
your whatever, through your eyes, through your
Uh-huh.
perception.
Yeah.
I'll be right next to you and I'll assist
You
you as
tell 'em
much
it's
as I
all
can.
right.
Yo, it's
Yeah.
cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
Yeah,
other
man.
than that, it's your own personal journey that you're on. Sometimes it can be like the first time, dude, that I did of what I would consider like I wouldn't even want to say like a real mushroom trip because they're all trips. Like as long as it's not just a little bit in the background, as long as you're feeling something like and it's pretty intense, that's a trip.
Mhm.
But the first time I took like 5 grams, man,
yeah,
and it was a strong type of mushroom.
I mean,
and
5 guys is
Yeah.
strong.
yeah, and I just laid there, bro. I I mean, it was like I was seeing Egyptian temples every time I would close my eyes. I was like either in an Aztec, Mayan, or
Yeah.
like Egyptian temple, and it was so intricate and ornate. And I was just like, I can't believe this place exists. Like, I mean, I was just dumbfounded is the best word to describe the whole entire experience. Like, my mind couldn't think cohesive thoughts really. I mean, it could here and there, but for the most part, it just thought the same, like kind of like a nonsensical thing over and over. It's like it was shutting down the thinking part to be able to have the rest of the experience,
Yes.
you know. And it was like patterns of like snake skin moving back and forth across, like basically like a large snake just moving across itself. And the body sensations were all mixed up too, like and patterns were all over everything, like mandalas I would describe them as, but maybe like a little different than mandalas, kind of like a little misshapen circle with a bunch of other ones inside, you
Yeah.
know. And they were all over everything I would look at.
And this was your first time?
That was the first one that was really heavy.
That's wild,
Everything
man.
else was just
Yeah.
microdosing. I microdosed for probably at least 3 years before I did that trip.
And
Yeah.
did you start before or after the Walmart realization?
Oh, that was, I mean, that was back in like 2012, maybe
Oh.
2011. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And that got me into more of the spiritual awareness, you know, reading spiritual texts and things like that. I started listening to this guru called Muji. And even that was like years later because I listened to Wayne Dyer, I listened to Eckhart Tolle, I listened to, you know, all this different stuff. But I think Alan Watts was another one that I really liked. I found a video of him where he was like, "You're it," you know what I mean? And and that one really just like opened something up for me. So I would listen to hours and hours of Alan Watts, you know. And then after a while, like it just got to the point where I started like I like to listen to these people who were like him, who were kind of like a guru, who would just talk and like they were wordsmiths. They were like it was like verbal
Yes,
jujitsu.
sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the stuff that they would say would just like it would crack your mind open.
It's because
you know?
it's like they would speak in imagery in a sense,
Right.
where they put you right
Yeah.
where they want you to be in order
yeah.
to understand what it is that they're trying to convey and
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
So Alan Watts,
Mhm.
he would talk about these things, but most of them he did. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
why it came
Yeah.
across so
Eloquently.
yes.
Yeah.
Because he did it. He did those things. He did
those
instead of
things,
just
yeah.
talking about stuff. Oh, okay, yo, this is
Yeah.
what it's like. No, you haven't done it. But because Alan Watts has that background and those experiences, the way he tells it, the way he says it, is as if he's putting you through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he really is.
I like that.
He's talking about like Eastern spirituality, his own
Yes. He
experiences.
practiced it, bro.
You know,
Mhm.
and so he's walking you through it visually and from his perspective, like so that you can experience and understand what he experienced and he can convey it to you somehow. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was really interesting. And like eventually I found Muji, which was a guru. He's like a non-dual teacher,
Mhm.
and he's got like they have like a whole it's called satsang is what it's called. And he would do like so he would do these satsang things or whatever, and he's actually from Jamaica originally. Muji is, and it's just a really interesting dude, and it's like an artist turned spiritual teacher, and now he goes all over the world. He's got like a thing in Portugal where it's like a whole retreat thing where they do silent retreats and stuff. And they go to India, they travel around the world, and he does his satsang. And so I've listened to probably hundreds of hours of that, and it's like just because it's like I mean, you could say it's like a drug, because what happens is you listen to it and literally I'll listen to it and my mind will go, I'll want to take a nap because it's just so relaxing, because he's talking about dropping the things that you have, like that attachment to self,
Yeah.
you know. So like whatever you take yourself to be, okay, well that's perceived.
Yeah.
That's you know, this even when you're on a psychedelic trip, what you see is perceived. What's perceiving that? You know what I mean? Like that's the deeper truth. And it's but it's hard to grasp because there's nothing, it's you, but like imagine if everything that you ever experienced occurred to you, but except for you.
Yeah, dude, like
you know what I mean? Like
the thing that it's so confusing, bro, because all right, what if I don't even know where to take this, because you do have this spiritual element, right? Let's just say the awareness behind it all, right? Which is just a flashlight is the
Yeah,
best way to for
like a movie projector.
analogy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a flashlight. So the flashlight just focuses on whatever it sees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it shines its light at is
Yeah.
what the awareness is focused on. But now in front or at the very peak or the last point of which the light is shined is the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the mind can be or the paradigm that the mind views the world and it constantly changes depending on the experiences that you gain throughout your life or something that you learn or whatever the case may be
or whatever's on your mind.
So,
literally.
like, what if
the
the mind is now damaged to some degree?
I mean, what happens with that? Where is your ability to think changed? Yeah, your ability to think will be changed in some ways. I mean, maybe remembering things could be damaged. Even the ways that you think can be damaged if your brain is damaged. But the fact that you are able to experience this existence, does that change? No, not unless you're unconscious. So you're still here. And it's like it goes right back to the same thing. Like, what are you? Who are you?
But what is the conscious?
And
then there's the conscious, and then the opposite of conscious is unconscious, right?
Right.
So the man who is unconscious, does he still have like that spirit, or you know what I'm saying? That's
people in comas seem to have long, drawn out experiences that are probably like, I mean, like, how people say I was on a trip and I experienced multiple lifetimes or some shit, like some crazy stuff like that, right? Like, well, people in comas go through all kinds of long, intricate, like really, really detailed experiences, like whole dreams and stuff. And I mean, they're technically unconscious, like they're not conscious in the sense like, we are, we're awake and alert and aware,
So would you say the coma patient is traversing
their own spirit,
like their own spirit and dimension, whatever the case may be, like they're just going through different?
I mean, it's hard to say. I would say like one of the things that if you think about it, just the fact of consciousness, the fact that you are aware that you exist. You could say that's a product of the mind, because of different things, structures that exist, and then so therefore consciousness emerges from that because you're able to be aware through whatever mechanism that causes that in your mind. But I think it's deeper than that, because what precedes the mind, what precedes the body, what precedes matter, like all this table that I can knock, this is energy. And you can convert things back into energy. You burn something, it turns into energy. That's prior to your physical existence. That energy that essentially gets concentrated into matter and becomes you was already there prior to you. And it's like they say, in physics, like energy, neither matter or energy can be created or destroyed. So there's like this. And if you look at the whole universe, you just back out all the way, like we don't even know if it just goes on forever, first of all. So that's potentially infinite or whatever it is. So even if it's not, like, it's so big that it might as well be infinite, to you and me, and if that's one thing, because you can really just say that's one thing, the singular infinite, if it's infinite, it's one thing still. It's just, you can call it one thing. And that all that is what we're a part of. So we're contained within that which is all that is. And that is, I mean, like if you just look at the universe, like how planets and stars are created, and there's, like a super, like they'll have like the Big Bang or whatever, and like everything just, it's recycling itself. So what happens when everything reaches its, this endpoint, it just goes again or something, that's what they theorize anyways. Like maybe it just goes on forever and ever. Maybe it's infinite. Maybe there's no, it's like if there's something and that's just one thing, it's always, it's kind of like the God thing at this point, it's like it's always been there, it's here, and it'll always be here, because there's, even if it was nothing, there's still something, there's that nothing, you know, like what is it, you know, like
Because if it's nothing, then it
Yeah.
would just be
nothing.
it would just be nothing. It
Yeah,
would just
yeah.
it would be like, okay, yo, before you think of anything, like don't put anything in your mind,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
All right, it's that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then whatever comes from that or
Mhm.
outside of that is everything.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
something,
Yeah, yeah.
which is weird, man. It's,
So
it's
I don't know if
crazy.
it's possible for there to be what the human mind thinks of as nothing, because if that were, it would be itself.
Bro, it's just wild, man.
You know, like I think that's what we truly are, though, and not nothing in the terms of like this is a microphone, right?
Yeah.
A not a microphone would be like nothing, right? Like that's nothing because it's not anything, you
Yeah.
know. But yet we're breathing air that you could say is like you would
Yeah,
typically think there's nothing there, you know. There's other waves and types of things that you could see, like infrared or gamma rays or X-rays or all these different electromagnetic energy. Like if we were on a radio podcast, like on FM radio right now or something like that,
Yeah.
it's going through the air. It's like that's like magic. I mean, it's like it's just
It's being
electromagnetic
sent,
waves.
like in the air.
Yeah,
bro,
it's like
through
nothing.
waves, yeah.
It's just particles, and you know.
Imagine if our eyes
Yeah.
were able to see that.
And if we could see all that, we would be in a sea of confusion. I mean, it would just be so much stuff going on. And when you really zoom out and look at it, it's like we have just like any other animal, because that's what we are. We're animals essentially, right? We just have more. Our brains are developed, so we can be more conscious and aware of things. But we're all a part of essentially one like organism.
Yeah.
Like, and this is, I guess this will go to. I'll talk more about this when we get around to the ayahuasca trip that I'm going to talk about later. But so I'm not going to get into it. I'll let you guys bring that up when we get to that point. But what I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you guys had that trip in Atlanta. Like,
Yeah.
what was your takeaway? Like what was the central message that you felt that you learned from that?
Central message. Well, this was my first trip to like my first psychedelic trip, and to be honest, I'd say there was a lot of like it's hard to pinpoint one central message.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say for sure I gained awareness.
Okay, so that
Yeah. But it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was like I'm aware of everything, you know.
Yeah.
I just gained like a little bit, and I've been as I reflect and meditate and work on myself, I've been getting more.
Yeah.
Recently throughout the time since, because I was back in February. So yeah, I gained awareness about like how there's like a lot of distractions
Yeah.
that we use to. Because for example, my loop was I just couldn't stop watching the TV. Like I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get up and stop.
It's a hard thing to stop
Yeah.
doing. Like, I mean, and that was during the trip, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's mesmerizing, right?
Yeah.
Like you're watching
It was Rick and Morty too.
Oh, and I love it. I almost wore a Rick and Morty shirt today.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was because
that's
originally we were
one of my
watching it, and
favorites.
then I think everybody went down, and I'm like, oh, I
Yo,
can't.
everybody's just like
I can't.
outer space somewhere right now. It's like Rick and Morty. All right. I think I might have a hard time stopping watching Rick and Morty too if I was on shrooms, because I think I've always wanted to know what like a hard trip would be like watching Rick and Morty. Were they the same?
Yeah.
They're different, or they were like it was
To be
like
honest, I don't
morphing.
even
and-
I think okay.
To be
So
honest-
here's what I'll say. When we were watching Rick and Morty, it was towards the first stages of the trip where you
Okay,
just
so in the
feel.
beginning,
I
yeah.
feel like you feel good.
yeah.
and
Mhm.
I think we got our hit later than everyone else.
Okay, yeah. So you're still watching it after everybody went down.
Yeah.
And so you realize right away you're getting pulled into and stuck into that activity.
Well, I didn't realize right away. I was just sitting there because
Everybody did, bro.
Yeah.
I was feeling great. I said, yo, hey guys,
Yeah.
let's go out tonight, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. This room is finally hitting me. Let's
Mhm.
go do something, you know,
Yeah.
let's go get adventurous.
Right.
And then it hit me like, who's gonna drive, bro? Everybody's on some
No one
shrooms.
can.
And
Yeah.
it was
Go
a big
ahead.
car too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to walk around Atlanta, the ATL.
And then I'd say
Yeah.
the second thing, or like the other major thing was I just had in my head. Oh, like I rediscovered my love for nature
Okay.
because
Yeah,
on that
yeah.
walk I was like, wow, I need to go outside more.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
'Cause,
good. That's good.
yeah, everything just looked and felt great, and I was
Felt
like,
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I felt like before then I was spending a lot of time indoors, especially because COVID. We had
Ah,
Yeah,
that's
that
what,
too.
now I
You
remember.
realize.
Now
Yeah.
I remember,
Yeah.
dude.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the group, most of the team had this underlining fear, even
Yeah.
if they didn't want to admit it, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember, Jason, especially last year, you never really left the crib. You never really left your house. Like you stayed indoors more than and I feel like out of everyone in the
Yeah.
group, in our team in nonstop, I was the one who was more adventurous.
but you were going to work.
I forget work. I was doing everything. Like
Dude,
I was
just
still
go
still
places.
walking out. I was
Yeah,
still like
Probably like towards May.
groups was my home, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You know
a
what I'm
good place,
saying?
man.
I had some of the the best conversations ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think at that time, because we were like we just came from Florida, the
Yeah.
state of the mask. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was
Yes.
wearing masks.
Yes.
Then we get
Yeah.
to Georgia
And
and
everybody's chilling.
there's no mask in
Yeah.
a gas station. We're like surprised. our mind is like boggled.
Because
Like,
that was at the beginning of this year.
hold on, wait a minute. There's no
That was
mask.
before.
Yeah, no, it'll throw you for a
mask?
loop. I mean,
Yeah.
you see the differences, for my a lot of times I'll travel and I traveled a lot during 2020, and even just in Florida there was differences.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
really?
There were- like you would see in Miami, people were all masked up because I mean, it was like a pretty populated area.
Yeah.
Clearly, you go up to like, I would go out to like West Florida or even Key West, man. Nobody was wearing a mask in Key West.
Damn.
And they weren't even actually, but that's the thing though. That was a little different because like they wouldn't let people go to Key West, but the job I had, you could go to Key
Yeah.
West,
I got you. I
you had to
got
get a
you.
letter. Like I would literally have to, if it was a boss or whatever, I would have to get it from the boss from the business, and then they would let me go. But it's just, yeah, I can imagine you guys must have just been like, whoa, and then maybe a little bit of fear, you know, like from that as well, because you're just
Man.
like, dang, none of these people are wearing masks.
Nah, it was
No,
dude,
by then
yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
that much fear because
Yeah.
this was February this year.
Oh, okay, so this year. Yeah.
'Cause I remember May of 2020, I went to Ocala to
Yeah.
buy my car,
Yeah.
and in Ocala, that's like 4 hours away. North
Yeah, so
Carolina.
what? It's
Yeah.
north, a lot more north.
No
yeah.
mass anywhere.
Yeah, everybody's just chilling,
And that was like
Everybody's-
May.
Everybody's
was,
like, what? Mask? And if you
like,
walking
'cause-
with a mask,
yeah.
dude,
they're just like,
they look at you like, who?
That was like a month and a half after.
Who's this guy?
That was a
yeah.
month and a half after COVID
Uh-huh.
hit.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, this is major differences that you wouldn't even know if you never left Miami either.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. I just felt like, wow, I'm getting around and I'm seeing like not everywhere is the same right now. Like this whole reality that we had. Like, I mean, I believe, I understand. Like after there were people that I knew that were, related, or like people
Yeah.
that I,
Mhm.
that I lost or that I knew of that were lost by like a friend of the family. Like the pastor that married my wife and I actually died from it, and he yeah, I mean, several members of the church, so I knew, it was real, I mean, it was no denying it, but at the same time, I also spent the whole 2020 going to like roots,
Yeah.
and just chilling and,
Just chilling.
and around people all the time. And before I ever, because I actually took the Johnson & Johnson, and I don't have opinion in one way or another whether somebody has to take it or not take it.
Yeah.
Like if you're young and healthy, or if you had it before and maybe you already got over it,
Yeah.
like, or these things like that. But like I also like but up until I took it, I had I mean, it was a year and a half. I was around people the whole time. You know what I mean? I never caught it.
Yeah.
Like I even took like at one point I took an antibody test, and that showed me like I had never had it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I had a lot of confidence that, like this is, you have all these numbers, these millions and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, well, the average person would be like, you can't even go outside, like you're gonna like, that'll be it, you'll be done, and I'm like, nah, not a year and a half told me that,
Yeah,
I'm still alive,
I had a big,
Yeah.
sample size.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To
But-
bring it back to Atlanta,
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
caught COVID in Atlanta. Like
Oh,
when
you did?
when we
Yeah.
got back,
Yeah.
it hit me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it was there.
Was it pretty bad or?
No, I got fairly lucky.
Okay.
I just had body aches for like
Yeah.
2 days, 3 days,
Well, it's good that you got over it without any
and
serious, complication.
and yeah, I couldn't, what's it called, smell or taste for a
Yeah.
while. That's
So I mean, so you did have like some complications. Like, how was that? Like having not been able to smell, or was it really bad, or like how they say it is, or was it just like whatever?
I mean, it is kind of bad because like
Yeah.
eating, well, it really takes you away from eating, like like
Yeah. Like you want to enjoy something and you're just like,
Yeah,
man, I can't even taste this.
like it made
Yeah.
eating like very,
Yeah.
it made it like a chore, I guess.
Oh yeah, it was like
'Cause-
more like it wasn't
'cause
an
you couldn't
enjoyable
take-
activity. Dang.
And
Yeah.
I guess I combated that by using a lot of hot sauce.
Oh
'cause
cool.
that
You could
gave-
taste that a little bit or no?
It just
No.
gave a sensation.
A sensation, yeah.
It's-
So how long did that last for?
The taste for like a week,
Uh-huh.
and then the smell 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like the end of the world, but it sucked though.
Yeah, it sucked, and it
Yeah.
was like I felt like it was more of like a mental battle
A mental battle, yeah. Yeah.
because like you're locked inside. pretty
Yeah.
much.
And now you can't even enjoy food. Like,
Yeah.
dang.
It was like,
I'll be like, I'm gonna take a nap till 2 weeks. Wake me up in 2 weeks. I'll fast. I'll be okay. I'll live.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got lucky with it though.
Just watch a lot of Rick and Morty. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I'll survive.
I don't even
Yeah,
know what
man.
I watched.
So Atlanta, man, you got y'all had a decent enough time there, then, and you came away
Yeah.
with appreciation for nature.
Yeah.
You realize that you stay inside a lot, and that's not cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, things like these are things that I mean, especially with the last year, everybody was encouraged to stay inside.
Yeah.
So just having this realization that you really want to be able to get out and enjoy life, having a realization that you have a connection with nature and seeing how beautiful it is, like what did that lead to for you? How
Well,
did it change you?
yeah. Well, I started going out to like nature. Like I started going to
Uh-huh.
parks. I felt like that was something that I wasn't doing a lot before, and I really was. I was trying to go out to parks and be in nature, get some sun. I like,
Yeah.
and also like try new things, like
Uh-huh.
because with the being stuck in like the loop stuff, I wanted to try new experiences
Yeah.
and just make sure I wasn't doing the same thing over and over again.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a big thing too. Like, I mean, I feel like sometimes, okay, you have psychedelics or you have a spiritual awakening in some way or shape or form, but sometimes just life in general, like the things that you go through, like if you go through a difficult time, like things are like if you're just feeling depressed or something like that, right? And you have to pull yourself out of it. Like for me, what happened recently, like I was going through it, like I was thinking of like my life just didn't feel right. Like I actually left a company I worked for, took 2 new jobs that I was a complete unknown. I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was depressed. I didn't feel so great. And I realized like, I wasn't really gonna get past this, So I had to like and I'll talk about this later with the ayahuasca trip that I did.
You can bring it up now.
Am I going to it now? Yeah.
You can go into it now.
So I had planned a trip I wanted to take a trip, right? So I did my passport and got myself ready to go travel.
Like a vacation or
Yeah.
psychedelic.
I wanted to do a trip like a vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got the passport ready,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, so to do this, to get it rushed or whatever, I need to like probably travel somewhere, have some plans or whatever. So I booked a trip I was looking at Peru. I was looking at some different places. I looked at Costa Rica. And at first I just wanted to just go travel and just see the beach or whatever, and just go hang out and go see different places. But then I was like, yo, I wanted to do ayahuasca. I was thinking about eventually maybe trying it, and just I had already done a lot of meditation and spirituality, like soul seeking basically, and psychedelics, and I had kind of played that whole thing out to the point where I was like, whatever experience I'm having, I'm kind of just having the same experiences over and over now at this point, even though they're very meaningful. Like I wanted to go another level. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to take a trip, I might as well just do ayahuasca, like do a retreat, an ayahuasca retreat. So I started looking around, and like all of them, like I had heard a lot, like YouTube videos from people that were out there, who do like spirituality, like stuff, meditation, and they want to
Yeah.
try new things. Like people went to one of these places in Costa Rica that's really, really popular. It's like more of a resort kind of thing or whatever. And that one was pretty expensive, you know. Um, and so I was looking at other ones, and there was actually several like different centers. And so one of them was like a dude who had like audio, like he was more focused on like he had like a sound dome or something like that
Yeah.
with like high end. He used to be a sound engineer, so I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's cool, you know, because I'm like a musician, you know,
Rock
like,
concert.
and it would be cool to like, you know, try going somewhere with that, like they're tuned into that. But I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. It's more, I'm gonna pay extra for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I'm not here for the sound
That's
spectacular,
funny,
you know,
bro.
whatever it is, you know. So I just decided, I was like, all right, let me look around. All of them were about 2,000, which at the time I thought, man, that's a lot for just to do that one thing, because you know there's places where you can go, you know, it's actually legal to do it in like a church, like an ayahuasca church.
Okay.
So if you do it in the U.S. at like one of those churches, you're not breaking the law or anything
Oh,
like
you
that.
wow.
Yeah. And neither are you if you do it in Costa Rica, because it's legal there. So anyways, I mean, I picked one that let me do like a one night retreat, right? So it was like I go there for one night and I leave in the morning, you know? 'Cause the rest of them were like 2, 3 days or a week or something like that. So I chose the one day, the overnight one, and it was a little bit of a hassle to like figure out like if they had that and talk to them in the email and everything. But over like a week or two, like I got it all nailed down, and my passport was like, oh, you know, it's gonna come. I knew I was gonna have the ability to travel, you know. And with COVID, like they didn't have, like there weren't so many restrictions or whatever, you know, with the traveling. So all that like kind of made sense, you know. Um, it made enough sense. And so I was like, all right, this is all booked and everything. Like I think I was on the verge of booking it, and my wife, like I told her, I was like, she saw that actually we were hanging out. Like we were out to dinner one night, right?
Yeah.
And it had already been like a week of me in this kind of moping around, depressed state, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I mean, I had already been like, it's like I couldn't pull myself out of it, and she knew it. And I used to just give her, like at the beginning, I was giving her an excuse. I was like, yo, I'm in a not the best place right now, you know. Like forgive me if I'm not like super chatty or whatever, you know. And so she just at a certain point was like, she was like, I think you need to go get therapy. And I was like, all right, let me level with you. I am already looking and about to, I think, book a retreat to go do ayahuasca. So I said, um, but I'd like you to come with me. You know, like we should make a vacation out of it.
Yeah.
Let's go and let's have a good time, because it's only one night out of the whole thing. We could stay for like a week or like a week or two or something. We could just hang out and do stuff, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And she was like, she would have never said yes. Like most likely she would have probably said no, because you know she was the type to be like, why do you need to do that? You know,
Yeah,
like
I
that
got
you shouldn't have to do that. Like
Mhm.
that's not, you know, you should be able to, you know, do things without having to do something like that.
Yeah.
So, but she knew, she saw that depression that I was going through, and she said, you know, okay. And she even kind of like caught herself for a second. She was like, well, wait a minute. Did you just pretend to be depressed so that, you know, I would say yes? Because she knew she wouldn't say yes, like if it weren't for that.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I mean, how can I fake that? Like, have I ever been like this before? No, I had never been like that before. So, I mean, long story short, like, you know, we eventually boarded the plane, you know. I had to follow a diet before the whole thing. So it was like almost like an alkaline diet, just like
Yeah.
a lot of boiled potatoes and chicken and like spinach and like a lot of water. You weren't really supposed to have coffee, but I had coffee, you know. I needed that,
You
you
need
know.
that.
So I mean, it's got to break some rules sometimes.
Coffee's delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious. It wasn't as delicious as usual because I started doing just like straight black coffee, you know what I mean? But I've gotten used to that now afterwards. So, I mean, we got there. You know, it was surprisingly inexpensive to travel there. Everything from like the plane ticket to the hotel. The hotel was like a resort style hotel, and it was like cheaper than you would pay for anything in Miami, literally.
What?
So you know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
you're paying less money than you would pay here to do like just some regular stuff, you know. So it's like it was a no brainer, you know. And so we went and we got there. We chilled the first day. Like they were a little different with the whole like restrictions and things. They would push hand sanitizer on you. Like you would get in a cab and they'd be like, here. I was like, oh man, sheesh. Like like everybody. I mean, it was a little different, but it was like, I mean, it was similar. It was chill. And like so the next day I had to get like an Uber, and it was all up in the mountains. Actually, rewind a little bit. The first day we went up to like this mountaintop cafe with like they call it the Mirador, and it's just like all the way around. It's like all windows, and you could see like the mountains, and you've been there.
Yeah.
You've been
Yeah,
there.
well, recently, yeah.
Right.
But I don't
Yeah.
think I went to that
Mhm.
place.
Yeah, so we went to one of those Mirador, restaurants, and it was
Oh,
it was all the way up there, and we're like looking down at the clouds and stuff from like the big deck out there and stuff. It almost felt like a dream, dude. Like we were leaving,
Yeah,
there were mariachis
beautiful
playing.
country, yeah.
Such a beautiful country, man. It's hard to describe in words, even like it's to the point where like Latin America, you need to go and visit different countries
Yeah.
and see the different
Different
the
lifestyle.
geography and the lifestyle and the way that people are, and just like there's so much there that would just really open your eyes to like the beauty of life, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I really think it was worth it. But anyway, the retreat center, I get there, right? So I'm in an Uber and we're going. I mean, all the roads are like really, there's a lot of potholes. It's up and down mountains and stuff. You got like trucks coming at you, and like the car would like have to like go almost off the road to not hit the truck, but he's also trying to stay on the road enough so he doesn't hit
So
the
like
pothole.
cars
Yeah.
and trucks are like
Like
grazing each
he's right
other,
there. Yeah, like the
you
truck
know?
is coming right at you, and like you're going down a mountain, and there's a pothole right there. He's like, no, I don't want to go all the way off the road because I'm gonna break my wheels. Like
Damn.
just like
So if this was like
Yeah.
Need for Speed, it would be a near miss.
yeah, and they were just like wild. They didn't even care. They were just
Yeah.
you're just blowing down the road too. Like they do this every day. And so there was that, and got into, it was called Alajuela. It was the name of the province, or the whatever area. And so we get down there. We finally get to the destination. I'm in an Uber in like a foreign country, so it's like it's kind of cool that you can take an
Yeah.
Uber there. Um, and this was one of the destinations where the Uber will actually come back and get you too. So 'cause you got to watch out for that. Sometimes the Uber won't come back and get you. You got to figure things out. Like you don't want to end up walking 10 miles, but it could happen. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I get there and we go down this one street, and it's like just houses, and I'm like, oh man, what did I get myself into? Did I pick a place that's just like somebody's backyard, or what did I do? So
In somebody's kitchen.
yeah, and I get out and I'm like walking around like, hold on, let me go check. And like somebody had their whole like window or like the door open to the front of their house or whatever. Like it was like the deck door. And I kind of like walked up there. It was like I'm just kind of like walking by, and like there's some kid sitting inside. I'm like, that can't be it. That's not it. I turn around, and then somebody on the street is like, I asked him like what the name of the place was. And he was like, oh yeah, that's right over there. Just go back down the road and down. So it's down this little road where you would have never noticed it. And so we go down this little, it's like a road, just a dirt road or whatever. And that's it. I mean, there's it's a beautiful little house, and it's two Costa Rican dudes, and their mom, which actually just helps them, like to do the ceremonies. But they were super calm and chill.
Yeah.
Very, 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 you know what I mean? Like
They
just
just
very
did it.
serious. Like they were very serious about what they were doing there, like they were doing it, trying to do it right. They wouldn't even kill a bug on the property. Like if a bug, like somebody in one of the ceremonies had a scorpion bite them, right? And they just put lemon on it and just like made it all better, and just tossed the scorpion back out to live another day, because they're like, we don't, because of what we're doing here with the medicine, like we don't harm Mother Nature no matter what, basically.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's that extreme, like, and it was a little weird for me too, because they have wasp nests like around the area. Like, I mean, if you're outside, they're gonna be wasp nests, like no matter what. I think they might have been dormant, but I see them flying around. I'd be like, shoot, because I was afraid of bees.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not just gonna overcome one thing on this situation. I'm probably gonna overcome multiple, like my fears. I'm gonna have to face my fears too. So I mean, I sat there. I was like the first dude there. They told me there were two guys from Costa Rica that were gonna come and do the ceremony with me. prior to that, they probably would have had a lot more people, you know. But I think maybe just with the climate of things in the world right now, like there just weren't that many people going to do it.
It was just you doing it, or your wife did it with you?
She didn't do it.
She didn't do it.
And it's my belief, like if you're not sure if you want to do it, or you kind of like on the fence about it, like don't until you really like until you have a feeling inside like I want to do this. And then when you go into it, you're not gonna have that like you're reluctant kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Resistance or anything.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
want to do it. Yeah.
So I mean, I just chilled. I mean, I was like sitting there reading a book. It was called The Plants of the Gods, and it was like all these psychedelics that exist in nature. And I mean, they're hundreds. I mean, there's several hundred. Like I can't remember exactly what the number is. I know it's more than 100, and it's like a huge list. And there's like, so there's so many plants in nature that are actually psychedelic. Like you probably couldn't even do them all in your lifetime. Like literally, like probably wouldn't get around to it. Like there are that many. So I thought that was cool, and I was reading about it. Um, Other two dudes, they showed up, and we talked about, you know, what we were gonna, you know, like experience. One of the guys had already done it like a couple times before, and then the other dude was like, it was his first time, and he was actually from right there in that province, and like he was telling me about how he wants to just grow spiritually, which is the right, you know, motivation to have for that. So, we started the ceremony. We did the rape, they call it, which is just basically they blow like a little bit of tobacco up your nose, kind of like it's like ash, I think. I'm not really sure like what it's comprised of, but I think it's ash. They blow it up your nose. You're not supposed to inhale. You just breathe in and out of your mouth, right? And whoo, there go the microphone.
Sorry.
It's all good. So you breathe in and out of your mouth, and is it working?
No, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
So you breathe in and out of your mouth, and so that hits you, and it's like I don't know how to describe it except for like you know that really calm, tranquil feeling that you get when you smoke weed. You know,
Yeah.
you feel really relaxed. You know.
Yes, like a CBD, even CBD
Yeah,
or
CBD.
some Delta would do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So very similar to that, only it hits you a lot faster, and it's very tranquilizing. It's just like you're just like will fully relax immediately. And it's good because then you're not going to be nervous about taking this stuff that might, you know, make you see things or whatever, you know. So we sit there and they're like, just think about your intentions, you know, like the people who allowed you to be here, like my wife, you know, was so gracious to come with me on that trip and support me in that endeavor. Like instead of just being like, I can't believe you want to do this and just like make me go by myself or something.
That's
So,
beautiful.
Even if she
That's
would have let me
beautiful,
go,
man.
that would have still been supportive in some way. You know, I'd have been grateful for that. So I was like, let me think of her, you know, my mother-in-law, my son, you know, the people in my life who love me and care about me.
Yeah.
And just thank you to all these people. And then being open and like and surrendering myself to the experience, you know. So as soon as nightfall came, like it was getting dark. Once it was fully dark, they gave us the ayahuasca, you know. So we took it, and then after that, they turned out the lights and the cicadas and like all the nature. It was like in the kind of like in the jungle or whatever. They all just went up full volume. Like it went from like to like in a second. All they did was just flip that switch, and it was just like full volume nature.
What was that? Was that like your awareness just switching? So now
No.
you were, or did they just know?
It was
Nature just knows.
nature knows when those lights go out. They get loud. It's party time.
For real?
It's party time, baby.
Yeah,
As soon as those lights go off, all those cicadas just go wild. And it was really cool because it was just like, wow, look how nature responds, you know, to things that it senses. And they do it all together, you know, which I just thought was really cool. So I mean, I laid down, you know, I'm sitting here, I don't know what to expect, you know. Like I was afraid going into it.
Did you already drink it before this?
I had already drank it at this point. Yeah. So it was like a little cup of like, it was actually sweet. It wasn't even like people say it tastes bad or like it's hard to drink. Like it's thick, but it was just sweet, you know. But of course, you know, I mean, here I've got kratom, so you know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Was it
like this?
Was
so.
it similar to like a kava shot?
I would say it's like imagine if you just took like some kratom and some spinach and maybe a little seaweed, you know,
yeah.
a little bit of kava in there, you know, put a little sugar in there too, I guess.
That's
Like
not.
That's probably how they
Yeah.
make it.
just like
Sounded too
just a
hot.
bunch of plants ground up together, and
Yeah.
you know, they reduce it, they boil it. I mean, what they do is they like with the vine, they, you know, they hit it until they pulverize it basically, and they put in these other plants that they put it with it, and it just all gets boiled down and reduced and reduced and reduced and gets really thick. So but anyway, I'm just sitting there thinking about, like, I'm open, I surrender, just totally open and totally surrender. Do with me as you wish with this experience. Like, I'm yours, nature. Like, you can basically, you're gonna take me and bring me wherever you're gonna bring me, you know. It eventually does start kicking in, and it's kind of like the waves of euphoria that you feel on a mushroom trip. Like, if you really take a lot of them, like, you start to feel like this, like, vibrate, like a vibration kind of thing going. You feel like tingling coming over your body, and like it's just kind of. And if you do enough like mushrooms, what you'll feel is like it'll kind of be real heavy for a little while, and then it'll kind of go down a little bit, and then a little soon after that it'll come back up again. It'll be really strong, you know, and it's just kind of coming and going in waves. So it's very similar to mushrooms in that way. Like, it's waves of this sensation that's overwhelming. And then as time goes on, like, they're playing music and stuff, you know, they're playing these little instruments and these little rattles that they come up and down, and they do a little smoke around you and stuff. It's supposed to be like to keep you, I think it keeps you grounded, personally, is what I felt. Like, I was focusing on that as a way, as an anchor point to kind of, like, you know, be okay or whatever, you know. And so, like, as time went on, all of a sudden it got to the point where I started to have these visions that they talk about. Like, I didn't really see a lot of visuals. I saw, like, the trees were moving like how they would on mushrooms, you know, and like there were slight little patterns, but they were barely perceptible, actually, to me anyway. And so I'm like sitting here waiting for it to, you know, like for the real stuff to happen, you know. Eventually it's like, you know, that moment right before you fall asleep, like, or not before you fall asleep, but like, say if you're like sitting here, right, you're chilling, you're tired, like you just doze off for a second, then you wake back up and you're like, oh shoot, I was sleeping there for a minute, for a second, right? It's like that. It's like that one moment where you fall asleep for like a split second, and then you just like jerk back awake, and you're like, oh shoot, I just let myself fall asleep there for like 1 second, you know. It's like that. And then in that second you get a vision. So the vision is like a picture, and you really see it like you would see it in a dream, but you don't really see it visually, because it's like you're not really seeing like with your eyes seeing, or like a visuals when you close your eyes. It's not the same.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I call it your mind's eye.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna like. I don't want to take away from your story.
No, tell me.
Bro. Okay. So back to my to the mushroom.
Yeah.
Remember that was the Scott special mushroom with the hint of ayahuasca in it.
Yeah.
So
you probably got a little bit of that.
That's what I'm saying. It hit me.
Yeah.
Later that day when I was home, and I was bro, this was so weird. I was on the couch. And I had my legs like up towards on the couch. You know how like your back would be up on the couch and you would just be sitting? No, bro, that's my legs, and my back is like on the seat, and my hands are like flailing everywhere.
Wow.
And then close my eyes, and I'm picturing my first my first dream, or my first you know image was, yo, we're all stars.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
These are visions.
Yes. Like my first vision is we're all stars, and it was a sense of knowing rather than a vision.
Yeah.
We're all stars.
Right.
Like all of us human beings, we're all stars.
Yeah.
It's the ones who shine the brightest that all of the other stars kind of sort of like focus on.
Towards.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As they're like a beacon of light almost. So all the other stars are like, yo, what? But the truth is, every star can shine as bright, just as bright as that star.
Yeah.
That was one of the visions. The second vision was, I saw myself. It was like in myself, that is, in a I don't know if it was an apartment or a studio or a home or whatever it was, but it felt like high scale, like upscale, and my music career took off. Yeah. And I'm just chilling, like
You're just
all right,
there.
yo, yeah, just vibing, but
Yeah.
in the same position with my back, like with my
Yeah.
legs in the air, and my back on the couch, just chilling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, after I got those visions, dude, I hit the phones, start calling people.
Yeah.
I called Jason, I called Max,
Uh-huh.
and I believe I called my brother.
Cool.
But I wasn't saying anything. It was all nonsense in those conversations. I was just yelling at them. I was like, yo, I have the secret, bro. Like, I know what to do.
It's true. Like, yo, bro, what is it?
Bro. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Bro, when I'm done, I'll let you know. But when I said when I'm done, I'll let you know, it's when I'm done with my trip. I'll let you, like, you know what I'm saying? Once I get this all soaked in.
Right, once I get this. Yeah.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the ayahuasca, because every other mushroom I did that.
Yeah.
Oh, like I did Phoenix Envy, I did all the never, bro.
Yeah.
Never had those visions.
It's like you blink out for a second and you get this like it's not that visual. It's more like in your mind's eye.
Yeah, it's a mind's eye, and then it's a sense of knowing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey,
that right there is what a vision
ayahuasca,
is.
Bro.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca. But I'm sorry.
And you would think that a vision is a vision, it has to do with your vision, but in reality, like it's like the least part of the whole thing. It's like you got a picture that occurred to you, but then like you know what it means.
Yes.
And it's like that's the cool thing, because like, you know, it's one thing to see something and be like, what did that mean? But like seeing it and getting the answer too. Like, bro,
I had there was one moment in my life when I did like I was in meditation practice and I had the clearest vision on the planet. Like it was so weird though. So it was just someone he didn't look like me, but someone he was just chilling, like literally in the box. You close your eyes and there's a box. And there was a guy, clear as day, bro. Like I'm looking at you, clear.
Yeah.
Guy sitting there. He opens his eyes and he looks at me. Like looks at me as if I have my eyes closed and Jason, you were right in front of me like that.
Yeah.
He opens his eyes and then he looks at me. And then I look back at him and then he starts fading away. And I'm like, no, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
And it just disappeared. The clearest vision I've ever had. And I don't know what that meant. Didn't know what that was about. I don't know who sent me that message or whatever. But but the ayahuasca, bro, that's why it hit me when you said, yo, you start getting these visions, but it's not like
it's not like you
clear.
see it.
No, but
you have
like,
a picture that occurs to you, you know. It's very, very interesting how that works.
You know it.
And then you know the meaning.
You know.
Yeah. It's together with that message. Together with it, yeah.
Did you see anything else during the experience?
So I had so the first time that I saw a vision, it was Mother Ayahuasca. And it was probably because I went into this thinking like this is the spirit, this is what I'm going to respect, you know, this is what I want to acknowledge, you know, because this is who we're communing with here, is this spirit of this thing, this plant, basically. So I get Mother Ayahuasca, who's like, she's like kind of like a bird or like an old woman with like, it's either she had a wing or like a blanket or something, right? And so I'm like sitting there and I'm like, so I'm watching this thing and like, I guess it occurred to me like, it's Mother Ayahuasca and she's climbing up like a big never-ending tree, and it's like a circle, it's like a spiral, you know. And so she's climbing up this tree, and I look up and there's no end to it, but then she is the rest of the tree. Like the rest of the tree is like an extension of her. Like I'm like, yo, okay, all right, this is pretty wild. And then I'm like, then I get this vision of like, and this might be a little out of order because it's been a while now, but like around a month or whatever, but I'm in like this leaf shaped like a backpack shaped like a leaf, you know, like the ones that mothers carry their babies on their back. And I'm in there and she's like carrying me up, like inching up and up and up the vine. So all throughout like this 8-10 hours of experience, like I'm imagining myself like I'm basically getting this message like, I'm with you, I'm here with you, I will always be here to guide you and protect you, no matter where you go I will come. And I'm like basically like as if this spirit was that of uh it's like that which caused me to be in existence, basically. So like I'm powerful enough for that, like I'm powerful enough so that whatever comes, I'm before you, like you're not going to have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
So it's like this feeling of safety. And then another vision where I was like in her, you would say like her bosom, but it's just basically like underneath that wing, like on the inside being protected, you know? And so I was like, wow, you know, like I really felt it. There were times when I cried, like I was streaming tears. Um, there was another, gosh, what else did I have? So there was that, and then there was one point where I saw like these like a really exaggerated character, like a person just like was like this lady was just like being like way over the top and like totally like just like all exaggerated, right? And I'm like watching her. She's up inside this little room. It's like up there somewhere, and she's like talking and doing this and that. And I'm like, oh, it's almost like funny. Like I'm looking like it's a really exaggerated character of a person, right? And I'm like, and then another one later was like another exaggerated person. It was like almost maybe like a New Jersey accent or something like that. Like I don't know what it was, but I'm like I realized at a certain point, it's just like a knowing that these were characters that I had. Oh, your screen's going down.
Caricatures.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
probably doesn't matter, but yeah,
It's screensaver.
just the screensaver, yeah. So like they were characters that I had created, but they were like people from my past, yet they were characters that I had just imagined. Like I had created. So I realized like the people, I'm like, yo, I made these people up, or like I imagined them or something like that. So that was an interesting thing to
So
occur to
wait,
me,
hold
you
on.
know?
So people from your past, meaning
People like just in my life,
people in your life that
like
you
they
know.
like they represented
Mhm.
people from my past. So they weren't like exactly as the people were,
Okay.
but like but I'm thinking like these were characters that I created. So I don't know if that meant like that was like maybe who I perceived them to be was a character that I created. So I mean there was a message there, whatever the message was. And then the other thing was just like it was just like a tool, you know. There's a tool where like I had something that was on my mind. I was just not feeling so good about my life and things with like the work and the job and stuff. And I realized that you can actually speak to things like fear. You can speak to things like worry and things like that. And you can tell it to go away from you, basically.
Yeah.
And you can use a visualization to like kind of like patch up the hole where that was, you know, like or something. That was something that I would have never thought of. So that's been helping me ever since. Actually, I've been using that. And another one was just like, yeah. I mean, it just basically I could feel it working, so it's like running down through my body, like the actual physical feeling of the medicine, like going through my body, like as if you know, like if water goes down into like when you water a tree or a plant, it goes all trickles down through everything. Like it was going through everything and checking it all out, and it told me like how do you say like it knew every part of me at that point. And like I had an issue with my hands because I use a lot of hand sanitizer, right? And I was like in it. One of the things that occurred to me more like later in the whole thing, like after it was starting to wear off, was like, okay, use aloe, which is an obvious thing, but I hadn't really gone all out and tried aloe yet. So there was that. So it's like it was almost like it's a diagnostic tool. Like it senses what's going on with you and it can kind of speak to you about those things. So there was that. And then just in general, like this whole sense of connectedness, I realized things I needed to change, people I needed to be better to and with, and just like ways I could, that things I needed to, ways that I needed to be. And I'll add this one little final note. Like there was a point where I realized that like we eat the plants that are in nature, right? So why is it that we could just eat the plants that are in nature and they nourish us just automatically? They work and they fit in our bodies and they make us stay alive, right? Because it's made for us. Like we are part of that. Like that goes together with us. Like those are also something that's like we go together with that. So it's like we come from the earth, right?
Yeah.
And then we literally do go back down into the earth.
We
Like
die,
but they bury us. Like we're coming out and going back in again, and so on and so forth. Like so we're really, it's like the earth is our mother. Like literally, like we literally. So there's like this connection that I became so vividly aware of that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
So that's the story, anyways.
So
Yeah.
would you say
Yeah.
you felt like almost all the
Mhm.
emotions throughout the whole experience?
Oh
or-
yeah, dude. There were times several times when I cried. Like the guy would come over, like, "How you doing?" And I was like it was just like tears just streaming down my face. Like, I mean, there were plenty of times where I remembered there being so many tears, like I had to wipe them. Like it was going on constantly because there were just these waves of like realization, and then I would just have these profound emotional realizations, and they were things that you wouldn't really face if you're thinking, you'd be like, oh man, but I got to do what I got to do in my life. Like, hey, I can't always be like a certain way, but in that thing, it's showing me how I am and how I need to be. And I'm crying about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how long did it last for you? You said 10
It was
hours?
it's somewhere from 8 to 10 hours, I would say.
And
yeah.
After that, you
Uh-huh.
felt like normal or
I
bad?
pretty much did. Yeah. Like the morning time, the next morning, like we just all got together, like the two dudes who run the place, like their mom had made like a nice breakfast with like beans and like my wife is Nicaraguan. So like they make like a beans and rice kind of thing.
Yeah, gallo
Yeah.
pinto.
Yeah. So in Costa Rica they have a beans and rice, but it's like with like more spice. It's got a little bit of like it tastes like chives and like some kind of like garlic or something like that. So they had that and some eggs and stuff, some coffee, and I stayed on like kind of on the same diet for like a week, and I had like this afterglow that lasted like a whole week, and I was trying to keep it going because I wanted to because I could feel it like this upbeatness, and
Yeah.
as after that week, man, I had to like really like it started to come back, like my old self started to creep back. I started to feel like a little more bogged down. I started microdose a little bit just to kind of keep it up a little bit, but I had to like ever since I've had to keep on exercising. I've had to keep on trying to stick to a better diet in order to feel the feeling that I know I can feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so now there's a feeling that I remember still just very vaguely at this point because it's after a month's gone by, I've already kind of forgot the feeling. But I know like I'm doing yoga, I'm drinking a lot of water, it kind of keeps it going. You know what I mean? Like, and otherwise I wouldn't be so attached to that. Like I'll be like, well, I feel all right, whatever, I'll just microdose, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, no, I gotta do this other thing.
That's like the best way to put that is the person who achieves success, that great like peak of success.
Yeah.
They'll continue to chase that because they know what that felt like.
Yeah.
So once you reach that moment or that point,
Yeah.
let's just say if you ever fall down from it, you won't be satisfied. Like you just won't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you always want that feeling back, man.
It's true, man. It's true. Yeah. It's like if you've been there and you've done that, you can do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I feel like what you eat really does impact how you feel. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I think most people would agree. Like, because if you're eating like fried food or junk food, processed food,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a different feeling, like a bogged down kind of feeling.
you get more sluggish.
Yeah, a little sluggish, as opposed to like feeling clearer and more energetic. And it's hard to discern that like unless you really like start to pay attention to the difference in how you feel when you eat and drink different things, So it's just interesting.
Yeah. So would you do it again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would, and I would recommend it. I mean, as long as someone isn't on like you don't want to really be on like any kind of antidepressants or anything if you're going to be doing it. Like you'd want to be safely, if possible,
Like in a
not
good
on that.
mindset.
Yeah.
Mind state.
Yeah, so you need to be in a good mindset, respecting the medicine, doing the diet and with the right intentions and stuff. And it can do wonders. It really can open your mind to things that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Maybe I do one.
Yeah, yeah. I would
Well,
suggest
it
so, yeah.
contains DMT, right? Basically,
Yes.
right? It basically
Yes.
DMT.
Mm-hmm. It does, yeah. It's little bit. I mean, it's a little different. I've never done DMT.
Yeah.
And, getting ready to possibly
Well, you kind of
try
have.
it.
I think
Yeah.
they.
But
They
it is
say, yeah, it's inside.
DMT, so you're taking in DMT because there's I think there's DMT in the vine, and then there's a MAOI that goes in there that allows you to take it orally, and so it becomes active.
Yeah.
So it was technically DMT. So I mean, there's something profound about that I definitely still don't understand. Like I just know that it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It really was.
All right, so now we're gonna have a shift,
Yes.
a hard left.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the private investigating
Yeah.
that you do.
Okay.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'd say, well, the thing I'm curious about is like, what's the craziest thing you've experienced?
Oh wow, yeah. I've had experiences, man. Doing the PI thing has been pretty wild. Like, so that's what I do. That's my job. Like, I own a company and I'm a private investigator.
Mm.
So, and what I end up doing with that is like we do surveillance, we do background checks, we do, missing persons if you're looking for a missing person, fraud if you want to investigate fraud, I've had all kinds of stuff happen, man. I've been chased down. I've had people shoot warning shots at me multiple times, which was really, really shocking and startling, it's just from being in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time and being noticed. And of course you have no choice but to stay there and like like if you're doing a surveillance, you're doing a stakeout, you're kind of staying in one spot. So, if people don't want you there, you won't know it until in some neighborhoods, you won't know it until you hear a gunshot. So thank God neither of those killed me, like, but there was that. I've been chased down, I've been confronted, I've been blocked in, I've had all those things happen. And I would add like one comment about that is that those things happened when I was new at the job. So you're out there doing basically what police do, which is like, being a detective, but which is dangerous, and when there's a learning curve with everything. So I'm like learning as I'm going. And in the meantime, like all this stuff happens because, people notice. They don't even need to notice you. Like the person you're watching never notices you because you stay away from wherever you're trying to keep your distance, right? But then wherever you try to linger, that's the thing that people notice, like if it's your car, who's that car? Who's parked there? Like that kind of thing. So that kind of thing happens frequently if you don't know how to deal with it. And now I know how, like, as I'm a more experienced investigator, and if I'm in an area, I know to do different things to be able to kind of like play the situation so I don't ever have these encounters and these issues that can happen when you're out there. So but that's what I would say is like some wild stuff has happened, but not as much anymore,
You ever wear like a mustache or anything to change?
I mean,
appearance?
I would just put a hat on, like,
Yeah.
I'm a bald dude, so I got that. So you see me now, you see me bald, change the shirt and put a hat on, like you're looking for the bald guy, you know what I mean? You don't see him anymore. I just disappeared. Poof, so there's that, it's just stuff like that where you do things to try to be as like to lay as low as possible, to blend in as much as possible. Talking on your phone, who doesn't talk on their phone? It looks normal,
Yeah.
it's just so no one's gonna be like, what's he doing, if they see me on my phone, they're gonna be, oh, it's just some random dude talking on his phone, minding his own business, so a little secret of the trade there.
What got you into it?
I started, okay, so I studied criminal justice, right? And at the beginning, I was looking, when I first came to Florida, I was looking at joining the highway patrol, right? And that didn't work out, thankfully, because I don't think I would have enjoyed doing that. I got through every step in the process except for the vision requirement. So there was, and I never heard from another ophthalmologist that I had bad vision, like that there was something like the thing that they quoted. I've never heard anybody say it again, and I've had extensive eye tests of, on different occasions. So I think it was just, they had their people picked, and I just didn't, I wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
So this was the very last step. So at that point, I had to decide what to do with myself. I stayed in school. I finished my bachelor's degree, and I actually ended up doing an internship for the federal government. So I was like, all of a sudden, I'm working with federal investigators who were doing like surveillance, and that was the first time I ever saw surveillance. They have all these, gadgets and stuff, all this high tech stuff. They're doing all this different things. I'm preparing evidence for trials and stuff like that, and like I'm learning investigations essentially. So as an intern, so I'm working this internship, and a year goes by and it's over, and I had to decide what to do. So like I stayed in the field. I kept going to school. By then I was already working on a master's degree, so I stayed in school for that, and kept on working investigations jobs. I found one for the state where it was like civil rights investigation. So I would investigate people who were like getting, they felt like they were fired for the wrong reasons, whether it was for their, if they were male in a, like a mostly female workplace, or female mostly male workplace, or because of race or disability or something like that. So
Yeah.
I got really good at like handling and, you know, doing the investigations on these claims and doing the reports and stuff. And I moved on from that into another position that was like with the state, where it was like a regulatory agency, and I stayed as an investigator with that. And I guess a long story short is when I ended up meeting a girlfriend that I was with at the time, like I ended up wanting to move to Miami with her. So, and she was like, she kind of moved in a hurry too. She was like, one day she just decided like, oh shoot, you know, I don't want to work at this job anymore. And we had already talked about moving, and I was
Mhm.
kind of in a flux state. Like I didn't really have um, the position I was in had ended and stuff, and I was just kind of like chilling. So I just decided like on a whim, just like, okay, I really love her, you know, like love will make you do some wild things, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And I was like, I'm gonna come with her, you know. I wanted to move to Miami because we're living in Tallahassee, which is you know, like the capital where they have a lot of government jobs and stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna move to Miami, and because I've always wanted to anyway. I've been there and I always loved the city when I go, and I enjoyed it. So I was like, this is my chance.
Mhm.
You know, I got a partner to come with. So we went together. Um, and yeah, I mean, I realized like if I'm gonna go down there, everybody's always like, yo, you got to make this much money, otherwise it's gonna be really hard, you know.
It's
So
expensive.
yeah, so I had to have a way to support myself, right? Like, so I was like, well, if I want to be an investigator, if I work for somebody, as soon as if I'm not working there, I lose the title. Basically, I'm not one of those anymore, you know. So what I did was I applied for a private investigation license. You know, I had enough experience to meet the requirements. I had enough education to meet the requirements, so they gave me the license after I took like a long test,
yeah.
which was pretty hard to study for too. But I got it, and so I had that, like it was in the works. They hadn't issued me the license yet. I moved down here, like I had to work some random jobs and stuff, you know, and like I eventually got that license. And like I think at this time I was working security. Like I was just like, I just needed any kind of job, you know, at the moment, just to keep the income coming in.
Yeah.
And then I finally got that license, and they flew me up to Detroit for this company I got hired with. And that's where I first got the private investigator training, you know, like chasing cars around Detroit. Literally going up they're showing us videos of like 8 Mile and stuff like that. Like people, like some girl like jumping in the trunk of a car, and like the car driver's driving off, and she's like still hanging on, and like I'm like, yo, I'm glad I don't work here. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not gonna be working here, bro, because this is crazy. Like it was wild, man. So that's where I first learned, you know. And then I came down to Miami and just started doing it, and I've been doing it ever since, you know. And started my own company after that because I wanted to have the control over, you know, if I'm making money or not, you know. So it's for me, it's just a job with a lot of flexibility, a lot of excitement. You know, that's why I like it.
It's probably really interesting if you like people watching, right?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get your share of, you get your fill of people watching. I'll tell you that. I mean, it's like it gets old after a while, because like you just be sitting out there for like 8 hours. You've seen enough people, man. I want to go home. You know, like, I just want to go watch Rick and Morty.
Is there a limit to
like-
how long you sit out there? Is it
No.
just up to you?
I mean, you want to watch how long you sit in one place, especially like it depends on the neighborhood, but it really doesn't, because whether it's a nice neighborhood or not a nice neighborhood, you're still gonna have the same problem. You know, you stay out there too long, somebody's gonna be like, "Yo, that car's been out there all day and it's been running."
Yeah.
Because it's like over 100 degrees sometimes. You gotta run the car sometimes. You know, so but yeah, people notice it sometimes, and a lot of times they don't, because I mean, there's ways, you know, private investigator secrets and ways to make sure you don't get noticed. You know?
Put a bush on the top on the whole car.
Yeah. Just chilling, you know, act like you just belong there or something. Hanging out. I work with one guy. He used to just get out of the car and go talk and hang around, like hang out with people, and just like flirt with like random women and stuff that he saw around.
That's
and
cool.
stuff. Like one time, it was the weirdest thing the dude said. It was like, "Yo," I was like, would you tell the girl, like like, so that, you know, like, what did you tell her? Like, why we're here? It's like, oh, I told her we were looking for a murder victim. It's like, what? Are you gonna look at looking for what? That doesn't make sense, bro.
Looking
Like,
for a murder
what? Yeah, we're just like, yeah. I'm like, no, dude, that's it's just say any random stuff, you know, like just people don't
You're looking for
apparently
a murder
people,
victim.
yeah, like what?
Yeah,
like,
the
yo.
just got up and left.
Yo, no. You gotta check the grammar on that one, bro. That was
Buddy got
incorrect.
up and left.
Incorrect.
That was it.
Like, where'd he go? He can't tell you anything. I don't know. Why would you be looking for him, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that was a funny one, man. Like, that was one person I learned from, though. Like, a few things. Like, probably, like, he tried to, some of the things he said were just nonsense, but then other things worked. Like, I'll be like, yo, just waiting on my wife and the realtor to look at some houses, you know? Somebody can't be like, no, you're not. What are you talking about? You're not a realtor. Oh, you're not looking for houses. Like, I could say that in any neighborhood,
Yeah.
like literally, you know? So, I mean, that was like one thing, like, you don't really have to come up with this elaborate story to get information, you know, or whatever. You just need to just make some sense, you know? So that's, the job isn't necessarily like the TV, you know, like the movies or whatever. Like, everybody always asks, is it like the movies? Like, no, it's not. It's actually kind of boring. Like, you really just sit around. Like, sometimes it can get exciting, but you don't want that. Like, you don't want that exciting. Like, that's the stuff that you try to avoid, you know? So, yeah.
That's funny.
Cool.
Well, all right, we'll wrap it up now. Thank you
Nice,
for coming
man.
out. We learned a lot, talked about a lot, and you also wanted to plug your
Oh yeah,
your also-
podcast. This Find Your Guru. If you go on Facebook, I'm just getting it set up right now, and I'm gonna start doing some spiritual topics and stuff like that from home. It's called Find Your Guru podcast. So I'll be doing that.
Do you have an Instagram that they'll follow?
If y'all want to follow me, I'm also a musician. I play in a tribute band, and it's called Audio Echo, all one word. And so
I'll
that
put it on the screen. Audio Echo.
yeah. So if you look up if you just look up Audio Echo, all one word, on Instagram, you can find our band there, or my personal Instagram. I'll give it's Reverse the Flow Miami.
You can hit him up if you need his services.
Right?
If you need somebody to be followed.
Or you want me to just follow him around, play the bass guitar? You know what I mean? Like, serenade somebody.
Or if you need some
serenade,
spiritual
you know what I mean?
guidance,
Yes.
the guru right here.
Right there, yeah.
Well, all right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Deep Thoughts.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Our link tree is in the description, and you can check out previous videos on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and a review. Maybe we'll read it on the podcast one of these days.
After you leave that rating and review, be sure to share it with friends, family. You know, Deep Thoughts. Come on, family. Let's get it. Let's grow.
Y'all take care. Peace.
Where are you at?